Hello.
Okay.
Okay, you can see me?
Yeah, but
Okay.
not you in the studio. I just see your picture.
Okay, it's all right. Well, I'm going to get started.
Okay.
If that works for you.
All
And
right.
I'm really happy that you're here. And we're going to get right into getting to know about Mae Mae Lynn, author of Atlanta's most eligible bachelor. So tell me a little bit about your background leading up to, what you're doing right now as an incredible author.
Well, right now I have just released book 2, and it's Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 2. I released it April 26th, and it continues into the story of Doug and Lisa, where they are getting more into their relationship. In Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 1 was the introduction of Doug and Lisa. They are people of various backgrounds, and Doug's a very strong leader, and he is very independent, very reflective. He is very commitment phobic, and Lisa is very independent. And she's met Doug, and in the first book, it was about their meeting, and this book, it's about what happens following their engagement. So in the second book, it goes more into detail about that.
Okay.
So
now, did you always want to be an author?
Well, I've had dreams of it as a kid, and I, wrote here and there, and then, you have other experiences in life. So I came back to it, and I started in 2008 and just kept reading and writing. So once I started the writing process, I had to shelf it for a while because I had life events happen. So the opportunity came in 2015, and I got into publishing. So I researched the internet to go into self-publishing, and I took the time to start publishing the works that I had put together previously. And that led into the release of Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 1 and 2 and so on.
Fantastic. So what was the inspiration for the book?
Well, it came from various sources, and one of the sources was that I was reading the book, The Sisterhood of Shopaholics, and one of the stories was about an airline pilot who met the same woman 3 times in one day. And I thought, what if I had characters that met every day, someplace different, all over town, and they developed their romance from chance meetings. And that's what happened with Doug and Lisa. Just by happening to be at the same place at the same time, they learned little bits and pieces about each other. And in the second book, it goes into more things that they learn about each other as a couple.
Okay, that's beautiful. Now, there's something to be said about Southern hospitality. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm sure you experienced it when, you're in the South.
Oh, yes. Southern hospitality is very polite. People are, even if there is something negative that you're thinking, they are always very polite. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. And
we could use some of that in Toronto.
Pardon?
We could use some of that in Toronto.
Oh, wow. Well, it's part of the culture there. The culture, it's taught by the mothers and reinforced by the fathers.
Right.
It's how the men treat their women. And also part of it is, the holding of the doors. They don't let a door drop on you. Getting the car door, as well as the show of respect. Because a lot of your Southern men are very attached to their mothers and treat them, have very good conversations with their mothers. So when they are picking women to be a part of their family, your chances are you're going to meet their mother, their grandmother, some aunties and cousins and all of that. So it's all about family. Family is very key in the Southern culture.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the challenges you faced when you were writing the book?
Well, some of the challenges I faced was that it came in pieces. So as I was putting things down, it was coming very fast. And when you're getting information very fast, it's kind of hard to focus or think you've missed some things. So once I've gotten all of the pieces down and everything down and going back through it, one of the things is having people to read it or to look through and see if there's if you've missed the scene or disconnected somewhere. So that was great to have friends and family assist with the process. And especially my older son has assisted with the process in translating the first book into Spanish. So that was a great assistance and a great way to have the whole family be involved in a new interest.
Awesome, awesome. Um, you know, writing a book takes a lot of time, inspiration, all those elements put together. How long did it take you to write this book?
Well, actually, it started in 2008, and I ended up by Christmas of 2008 writing 8 books in the series.
Wow.
So what really took the time was for me to go back and polish the elements of the book
Mm-hmm.
and to expand the story and to do the proofreading and to really put in some things that will really engage the audience into the romance. And because it's specifically an interracial romance, I didn't want to hit the too many of the stereotypes that people would think would happen between interracial couples. I wanted to highlight that Lisa was strong and independent, and I wanted to highlight that Doug was commitment phobic, and that you have 2 people that are very strong in their own right, and how they come together and are able to be together and work through the issues that can and do come up between them. Even in book 3, there will be more things that will have to be discussed because it's a fast-paced romance. In
Mm-hmm.
book 2, we discover that she's pregnant. So we have a pregnancy, we have a wedding, we have a new romance, we have introduction of family to each other, the interactions between families. So we have a lot going on with 2 couples, and even your average everyday couple, that's a lot of stress
Yes.
to put in such a short period of time. So
Absolutely.
I go through how each of them handle all the stresses that they go through as they're going through this romance.
Okay.
Even moving in together is a new thing for them, because Doug has lived alone for a long time, and Lisa has, traveled and been several places and lived several places. So,
Mm-hmm.
so even that is a big thing for both of them.
Fantastic. Can we talk a little bit about you deciding to self-publish and maybe about book piracy?
Well, the reason why I wanted to self-publish is because I definitely wanted to be in control of my own destiny. Self-publishing has allowed me the freedom to move around on my own timeline. There is a lot of self-investing, a lot of self-discovery, and you actually learn a little bit about the business as owning it your own self. And one of the things that too is that I've decided to publish my major publications on November 4th and April 26th, which are my son's birthdays.
Beautiful.
And when you're working with major publishers, you're under a contract. And when you're self-publishing, you are managing your own destiny. And when you're working with publishers, sometimes they'll sit on a project or get back to you, or you're writing and writing and writing all of these people to accept you or to look
Mm-hmm.
at your work, when you could be just putting your work out and talking to people and doing your own marketing. So that is one of the main reasons why I wanted to self-publish, so that I could have control of my own work. I could, move at my own pace. I can bring in contributors that I wanted to contribute. So self-publishing is a great avenue when you have works that you really want to be involved in the business side of it. Now, it has been difficult with piracy. The piracy, I've even had some piracy on book 2. And what the piracy has done is it does pretty much bring down your sales a little bit, but it's also advertising. So people that normally wouldn't read you,
Right.
but it's like a catch-22, and it's very difficult to know what to do on it. Generally, I'll write the site and ask them, hey, this is copyrighted. Please,
Be
close it
respectful.
down. Yes, yes. So that's one of the main things that I've done with book piracy.
Okay.
But I do have a statement on my website as well about, the piracy.
Great. And that's important to have to protect yourself.
Yes.
Now, can I ask you a question? Why did you choose a pen name?
Well, one of the main reasons why I chose a pen name is because if I wanted to go into different genres, that I could, write up under a different name. So this one, once you have your name out there as a romance writer, it's kind of hard to switch genres. So Mae Mae Lynn is a romance writer. If I wanted to write something on, that's more fantasy, I could go under another name and have another collection. Or, and it allows a little bit of privacy as well.
Okay.
So that when you're writing under your pen name, you're not commingled in with your birth name or your married name or such as that, because life does change, and you're not, if you're divorced, you're divorced, and you change names, and then you're constantly chasing to change names. But when you have a pen name, that is your name.
Fantastic. Now, you were talking a little bit about the couple in Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor. Why did you choose an interracial couple?
Well, I thought the diversity would enhance a lot of the differences that your average, ordinary couples would not experience that are in the same culture specifically. Like if someone was in the same faith, they're not going to have an interfaith discussion, like somebody that's Christian versus Islamic or something like that, or any other diverse relationships or the extremes of relationships. So this was one way to bring in some of the extremes and also talk about some of the things that we don't talk about as far as interracially, because even in our culture, that we'll talk about things amongst ourselves, but we won't extend it out to other cultures. And because they're interracial, there are things they have to talk about and address. And even as far as personal prejudices that they have heard or about other cultures, they have to address those as well.
Right. That's a very valid point. Now, what makes your book stand out from others?
Well, what makes it stand out is definitely that it's rooted in the South. The fact that with the series, and as I write and as I release, you'll find that other characters that are introduced are interrelated. And I write about interrelated people. And it doesn't mean that they're all family, but they're either peer groups, co-workers, they're relatives of some sort. So when I wrote the series in 2008, I kept getting ideas about additional family friends and as well. And it's kind of a fun way to kind of look at it from sort of like a soap opera point of view. Like you will see like 6 couples at a party in a soap opera, but each of them have a different path as to how they got to that party. And that's what I write about, the different paths of the people and how they come together at the same point in time, and then and what happens after they leave.
Fantastic. So can you tell us again, when people read the book, what lessons should they learn?
Well, what they should learn is that even though that there are couples that are together and they're very, very, very different, there is also a common thread amongst them. And for Doug and Lisa, the common thread is that they love each other. Yeah,
Yes.
even though they don't even know each other, they have
Mhm.
a deep affection for each other. And also, as they're working through their differences, they still understand that the bottom line is that they love each other. So they work through the differences with their families. They work through the differences with coworkers and everyone else that comes into their path. And they find that they are very united in some very core values that come up through the book. And this is what brings them together and makes them a much stronger couple as they go through all the challenges.
Fantastic. Can you just mention some of the contributors to the book?
Well, the main contributor for the Spanish version is my son Carlos for doing the translation work for the Spanish book. I've got a editor, Alex Huberts, and she's edited the second book as well as helped me with the covers on the first and second books. She designed both the covers, and she has been very valuable, a confidant in critiquing my work and giving me an expansion of ideas to really get into the core issues of the couple and to introduce it in a broader sense. Also, I've had a couple of Spanish editors to work on the two different versions of Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 1. And the woman who edited Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor, the first one, she was actually a woman I worked for, and she's
Okay.
an attorney. And so she really got me into looking into the grammar and making sure that that was correct, and some things that you kind of miss when you're writing, you get all of the ideas and you're just trying to get them to the paper. You don't
Right.
really go into the, well, this is the grammar or this is the punctuation, or you're just trying to get all of those ideas out, and you don't want to miss something because when it comes, you're just writing as fast or typing as fast as you can.
Exactly. Okay. Can you talk about the female author? Are there more challenges for female authors?
I think that there are more challenges for authors that are unknown than it is about the male or female thing. And
Okay.
specifically in a genre like romance, where there's really a lot of books out there in romance. So becoming very unique, getting your target audience, getting out there and meeting people is very important because you do want to promote your uniqueness, and you want to find your tribe, those that are really going to follow you as you're writing and go with you through the journey of your work.
Fantastic. Okay. So you are now approaching the next turn in your journey, and you have a book that's coming out next. So what's in store for the next book in the series?
Well, actually, Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 3 is coming out, and that will come out in November. But I might have a little summer surprise that I'm working on
Nice.
in between the series, sort of like a mini release. So I've been working hard at that, trying to get that polished off as something to just kind of come in between the two releases. And after Atlanta's Most Eligible Bachelor 3, I will be moving into some new main characters.
Oh, I love it. Okay. The same premise, maybe more interracial couples or something a little bit.
Well, this
different from
one
that.
is this couple is going to be in the majority culture, but actually both people or the couple themselves are connected to Doug and Lisa. So
Okay.
they've kind of appeared. One of them has appeared in 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess because the female has, and the male will come later. He will appear later. So I'm starting to go out into the extended families and such. But there will be more interracial couples coming up. There will be some African American couples that come up. So it's you're going to see how it's a community and how the community grows.
Okay. And when did you say the second book is going to be released? That's November?
Okay, the second book came out April 26th. Book 3 is coming out
In
November
November.
4th.
Got it. Okay. And so what's next for you? Do you see a movie or a TV series coming up?
I would love to see it as a movie. So one of the things is that I do need to learn how to market and talk with screenwriters and all of that. So it's more about research. So it's kind of a balance between writing and research and doing some reading.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's put it out to the universe and see what gifts will be received. So how can people find you? Where can they locate information about you, and how can they buy the books?
Well, I'm on Amazon, and my website is www.maeamaelynne.com.
Okay, and how do you spell your name?
MIAMAELYNNE.com.
All right. You know, I wanted to ask you one last question before we go.
Okay.
You've done some incredible, work in the literary world, and we are grateful for it. But how have you been transformed through this whole process?
Well, it's broadened my creative thinking. There are ideas that I've had for years, and once you start to put them on paper, more ideas come. And being able to have that release and being able to the real satisfaction is when a reader comes back and says, "Hey, that was a great story. I loved reading it." Or, the one who even the hard critiques, it's like, "Hey, I needed more description."
Mm-hmm.
But, either way it goes, they've read you and they've even, thought of you enough to respond. So there is real joy in having people come out and really engage in the characters and have a little bit of a vested interest into how they come out. So
Fantastic.
It's been great.
Yeah, no, that's very encouraging, and I want to applaud you for all you're doing. So let's give you some proper applause. We'll make some noise for you.
Thank you.
Mae Mae, thank you so much for dropping by the Nikki Clarke Show. It was a delight chatting with you and learning a lot. And I got a copy of your book, and it's very spicy. And I look forward to book number 3 when that comes out. So that's going to be exciting, just around Christmas time or Hanukkah time. So you can keep giving the gifts of love to your family and friends. So thank you again for sharing your time with us. And we will connect with you soon. Before we go, one more time, your website where people can find you.
www.maeamaelynne.com. maeamaelynne.com.
Fantastic. All right. You have a fabulous day, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.